Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
All right, boo. Is it doing it?
It's the same thing. I'm just not gonna be able to see you. Did you see the text message I sent you of how it looked?
Listen, yo, that's crazy. But you can see the comments and everything, right?
Yeah, I can see like the Cosmic Phoenix just came in and said it's also watching this live. I can see that, but for whatever reason, I just can't see
Oh,
you.
that fucking sucks. All right, you know what? We gonna roll with it. Can you can you go with it
Yeah,
like this?
let's just do it.
Okay. All right, back.
Because you can see me, right?
I can see you. I can see everything. I can see everything, but you can't see everything tonight. That's what spirit say. Maybe
Okay.
spirit making you look at yourself.
Maybe. I don't know. This is something to definitely like. And remember, I was telling you I was working on my like third eye
Oh
chakra.
yeah,
So this
yeah.
probably
So
got something
maybe
to do with that too. Like honestly.
yeah, maybe it's just that's funny.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, welcome. I know I think it's just you and the Cosmic Fusion right now, but
Yeah, that's all
welcome
I
to
see. So,
our live, our first official live. We did have a live for our project, but this is our first official of many lives that I'm excited about. Um, and I guess we need to go into our story of how we like even started like this.
yeah.
So shout out to SAU. We just graduated woo, woo,
Yeah, we
from our first
did.
from
Yeah.
our first year at the Spiritual Central University, and while we were actually in class, Professor Melanie put us together, and I didn't find out until today why she put us together. Is that both of our Chirons is the Gemini.
Mm.
So I guess what we can do today, because towards the end, y'all, we gonna talk for about 30 minutes because I know there's a workshop that's happening later today, or later tonight, this evening. But we'll talk for about 30 minutes and then we'll start pulling cards. So if y'all got any questions, we're gonna pull cards for y'all. Y'all want some clarity on some stuff? We're gonna double team y'all with the cards, and if you don't get
Yeah.
the messages that you want, we gonna gang. I have listen. Let me tell you. I gotta tell this story real quick. I have a cousin. She's so country, and she was like, she was talking about somebody like a couple of people like trying to gang up on her in an argument. She was like, they be trying to gang bang me, and I was like,
No.
gang bang. Do you know what that means? And she was like, no, they be trying to gang bang me. I was like, look, cuz you can't say that. Cause she
It's
kind of
gang
older.
up
I was like, you
on
can't say
that
that.
gang bang? No, that's
Yeah, it's gang up on. So anyway, we gonna gang bang y'all with these cards, okay? So come with y'all questions. So Naima, I was gonna because we actually had this conversation today to figure out that our both of our Chirons were in Gemini. So what did that actually look like for you when you were a child?
okay. So yeah, so for me, it was more like being told you talk too much. That
Mm,
was like the thing, being told you talk too much. So with that, it's like you kind of retreat and I guess for me, how it manifests into adulthood is definitely having like throat chakra um issues and like not
mm,
speaking my truth, not speaking up.
right,
Um, as I'm talking right now, I'm thinking about just over my life, right? I'm like looking over it, and like there were times where I didn't want to say anything to not cause conflict,
mm-hmm,
to like kind of like to avoid conflict. So
mm-hmm,
that whole thing, when you're telling a child or you talk too much, you realize, and when you hear it a lot throughout your child, you don't realize how it might manifest and what it can turn to like into your adulthood.
right,
So I'm thankful for SAU and being taught about the Chiron placement because it allowed me to kind of dig deep to find the root issue when it comes to like expressing myself and like speaking my truth
right,
and self-expression in general,
yeah,
so yeah.
yeah, yeah. I when when I was younger, I was a little bit of a troublemaker, but it was more so of mischievous, I guess you should say. I was just really curious, so I was like one of those ones that was always getting into shit because I was just like exploring the world. Like I love, even to this day, like I'm really big on like adventures. So I was always getting into shit, and like my mouth was like, my throat chakra was very open. Like I didn't care what I said. Like if I had a question, I would ask. Like I remember my mom would always do this to me. Like she would cover up my mouth a lot because I would ask like questions. Because like if I saw somebody that had like buck teeth, I'd be like, "Why your teeth buck like that?" Or "Why your hair look like that? It's ugly." You know, like I would say stuff like that because like I was just curious. It was no harm or bad intent behind it. I was just a child,
Yeah.
but I used to get in trouble a lot because I was just very vocal about everything. I was just say whatever was on my mind basically, and then I would get I got a black mama, so I got my ass whooped a lot. And like I said, she would literally take her hand and put over my mouth. Like if she saw somebody that had something weird going on, she would just immediately take me and just like cover up my mouth because she like I already know he about to say something crazy. But it was like that in school as well. Like in school, like I would ask questions like, "This don't make sense. Like, why are we doing this? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do work. I want to go outside and play." Like I was just very vocal about how I felt, and I got in trouble for it a lot. And like you said, Naima, eventually I kind of like internalized that of like, okay, I shouldn't speak because I feel like I'm going to get in trouble. Or I shouldn't say something because I feel like I'm going to get in trouble. And then like as I got into like a teenage years and got a little bit older, I got in a lot of like arguments and stuff because I just felt like people weren't listening to me. And when I felt like you weren't listening to me, I would get loud. So, then the curse words coming out and then, all of that. So it became a little bit more aggressive, I guess, once I got into my teenage years, it became like more aggressive, but of me wanting to express myself because I stopped expressing myself as freely as I did when I was a child. And then when I got older, because again, I was starting getting in arguments with people, you know, I got in a lot of trouble. My mouth got me in a lot of trouble. I will say that. And then, and it wasn't necessarily, like I said, from a bad intent. It was just me expressing myself. And then it became this extreme thing of, because I'm an Aries. So it's going to be very, very blunt. It's going to be straight to the point when I speak. So it would be me, even, I would definitely like metaphorically cover up my own mouth. And like, okay, I'm not gonna say nothing because I know if I say something, I'm gonna start some
It's
shit
gonna
or
like set
whatever.
it off. Yeah, set
Exactly.
something off.
I would set it off. So then it would come to the point where it would build up, and then eventually it had to come out. That's my Libra moon. It's like the balance of it. It had to come out. I had to express myself. So then it would take one little thing, and then I would just blow the fuck up, like just be yelling and cursing and going up like, why are you snapping on me like this? I only asked you like one question, but it was just a buildup of like a long period of
A long
time
period of
of me
not
holding,
expressing
not
yourself. Yeah.
expressing myself. And that showed up in like my friendships. It showed up in my relationships, to where it was just it was really imbalanced. And in the beginning, like I didn't give a shit. I was just like, this is how I feel. But eventually, as I got older, I was just like, damn, I'm like fucking on my relationships. I started feeling a little bit bad about how I handled certain situations. So that's when I feel like I tapped more into my Libra energy, and then I was like trying to keep the peace a lot, and just not saying anything at all. And then that kind of turned into me getting a little bit depressed because I wasn't expressing myself at all because I was afraid of hurting people's feelings. I started putting other people before me. So I just wouldn't speak at all, or I wouldn't say anything. And once I got into my spiritual journey, of course, doing shadow work and stuff like that. But once I got in my journey and I actually started like beginning the process of doing readings for people and like assisting them and helping them and talking to them, I realized that same energy of me not speaking up or speaking the truth because I was afraid to hurt their feelings, that was like interfering in my readings.
Oh
So it
wow.
was like
Oh
I was trying to find a way to like, because when I pull cards, Naima, you pull cards, it's just gonna give you the
yeah.
truth. Like the cards don't
Yeah.
lie. So it was like I was started trying to go in my head and like figure out a way like, okay, how am I going to tell this person this because this is kind of rough to say, or I would try to go around it. And I remember the priestess that I was working with, she was just like, you can't, you got to be able to speak your truth. Like you can't block the truth that's coming out when you're channeling for people and you're pulling cards for people. Like if you're really assisting them and helping them, that that very vocal part of you, that very blunt part of you, that's a gift that you have to
Mhm.
use. And
Yeah.
that's going to really help you in your reading. So being a part of SAU, I kind of had started on the journey already because I had shut all readers down. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I got to work on myself
Mm.
more because there's a
Yeah.
blockage. And then once I started SAU and like, we got into the nitty fucking gritty of shit. So
Yeah.
like really focusing in on allowing myself to express
Mhm.
regardless of, because it's never coming from a bad intention. It's always, I'm just speaking my truth, and that's okay. So working through SAU like really put me in the in the place of confidence and really for real, yes, like Professor Melanie, we already know like she on her shit, but it was the support from y'all, like the support
Mhm.
from my classmates of just like, yeah, just especially when we went to the retreat and her calling me out and like everybody like being so supportive of like
Mhm.
just be yourself, like there's nothing wrong with that. Like I don't think I had that many people and that much energy
Mhm.
supporting me at one time and without people like being jealous or like judging me for how I act or what I say.
Yeah.
It really like helped open up my throat chakra and just open up my expression so
Mhm.
much that I became more comfortable. Like, all right, now I can really get into my work. Now I can really start doing readings for people again and really start like assisting people because I'm not
Mhm.
afraid to speak.
Right.
I'm not afraid to say the truth that I get because when I get it, it's so raw and blunt and so just like it have a little attitude with it. It have a little
Mhm.
spice with it. I'm not gonna lie. When I channel, whoever my ancestors or my spirit guides are, and when it comes to me, it comes very fiery. So it's like that's how I deliver it.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's just this is how I hear it. So this is how I'm telling it. And I like delivering it like that.
That's
Like
you.
it's fun.
That's
So yeah, it's me. Yeah, that is that's my Leo rising. Like I love the animated part of it. So
yeah.
anyway, yeah, because you also have a Leo rising too, right? No.
No, I'm all water over
Ooh,
here. I'm a Scorpio sun and then like Pisces moon, Pisces rising.
damn.
I know.
Okay. So
I
how
be my feelings. My feelings be having feelings. Like my feelings
my
be
feelings
having
be having
feelings. Like,
feelings? How was that like? How was it growing up as like straight water? Like because I'm on the other end, I got fire, fire,
like
air.
it's like I don't know if you can hear that, but that was loud. Woo.
Oh, but were the emotions loud? Damn, that was
No, it was like a loud ass car that just it was really, really loud. Sorry. I
that,
didn't
that
hear.
was
What was your
yeah.
question?
No, I was asking how that kind of was in alignment. I was asking like how was that having so much water because that's almost like the opposite of me.
Mhm.
Like growing up with so much water, and like dealing with life and dealing with your Chiron being a Gemini because I know with water signs, like they have to fucking allow their emotions to flow. So if you were like blocked in your throat chakra, I know that had to like really, really affect you. And as I
Oh,
was asking that loud ass card revved up, so that was
yeah.
almost like confirmation about what you was about to say. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was just like I internalized everything.
Mm,
So I didn't express really like anything that was painful, to deal
mm,
with and like especially when I look at it now when I got older, and I even when I was waking up to my spiritual journey and I look at what was going on in my life at the time, like when I answered the call to take, to live the spiritual path,
mm,
I was suffering in silence still. Like I didn't
mm,
know how to share that with anybody. It was just like I just felt like nobody would understand. I felt like I would be judged. And it
mm,
again it just ties back into not really knowing how to express myself vocally, you know? Like,
Right, right.
yeah.
Did you have anybody that like supported you, or anybody that you could look up to around you that, you know, were like connected to their emotions enough to like, you know, support you in that area or receive you expressing yourself? Like, did you have anybody around that really supported that?
No, it was more of like how I grew up. It was more like don't let nobody see you cry. Don't let nobody see you like be. I don't want to say call it being weak, but that's like what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't do that
Mm-hmm.
around here, like kind of thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then, like my childhood is not like the squeaky clean type of childhood. I didn't grow up like with both parents in the house and like happy
Mm-hmm.
family type thing. So that's even talking about that out loud, like on like a public platform is like hard for me to do, but I'm here
Mm-hmm.
for it because it's part of
Yeah.
me like speaking my truth
Yeah.
and getting it out.
Yes.
So like the way I grew up, it was like be tough. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like be tough, tough it up. You don't really express it. So when I did have moments of crying, like I was like in the bathroom by myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have anybody. Like I love my mom. She wasn't there, in the way that she could be. She had her own issues that didn't allow her to be in my life that way.
Right.
Um,
Right.
my father he's still in my life too, but he has his like now that I'm learning all these different things about like astrology charts and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, like I could see where he had his own like issues, so he couldn't be there for me emotionally either. So it's like I kind of had
Right.
to like figure it out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a long while to get there because little did I know by doing shadow work and journaling and learning my placements how helpful that would be to navigate that,
Right.
So it's like, so I'm in this space right now, like of taking what I've learned and like applying it to my life. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. And you grew up
Yeah.
in did you grow up in LA, in
Yeah, I
California?
grew up in Compton. So
Oh, you grew up in Compton.
yeah, so it's like a smaller city outside of
Right.
LA. So it's so funny because you made me think about how you said you would get in trouble as a kid.
Yeah.
And like for me, I would never forget this time like where I would get in trouble for talking too much. Like so I remember hearing my family like talking about my auntie's party one day, right? And I was like, I want to go. And they were like, no, no kids going. I was probably like 9 or 10 or 8,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around here. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, no, no kids can go. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna ask my auntie myself. So I go over to my auntie, can I go to your party? She was like, what party? So it was a surprise party. It was a surprise
Oh
party.
shit.
But nobody, like, I'm a kid, nobody told me it was a surprise party.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They just told me no,
Right.
kids can't go. So I'm like,
Right.
I'm gonna go ask them myself.
Right.
And then there was one time I remember um, being in the store with my mom, and I got in trouble because I just walked up. I can't believe I did this, but I was a kid. I was like, yeah. I walked up to like we were, I guess, in some kind of store, and I walked up to the like one of the counter people that were like a clerk, and I was like, "My mom could take her teeth out of her mouth and go like this." I remember getting in trouble for that. Like, but what? I don't know. I don't know. I'm a kid.
That's
And I have to look back at
hilarious.
that like I was a kid. Like,
Right. But she can though.
and so that kind of like, like you talking too much. You talk too much. Can you kind of
Right.
see how it goes like in my life?
Progressively.
Like talking too
Yeah.
much.
Um,
But yeah.
I I wanted to tap in a little bit of because I feel like when you get into when you get into a relationship and you start falling in love, like that brings up all the traumas.
Mm.
In the beginning, it's like, oh, it's like flowers and cotton candy and roses, and like, oh, this feels so good, and like we love each other, and oh, and then like you start really diving deeper because you guys love each other, you're around each other all the time, like you can't really hide who you are, you can't put on this mask anymore because you're with someone so much and so intimately. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like when you get into relationships and the closer you get and the more you start seeing, they're not so presentable sides and they start seeing your not so presentable sides, that trauma start coming up. So I was gonna ask you, like, as you started, dating and getting into relationships, like, how did that show up for you?
Okay. So, well, I'll speak on like my previous marriage. So I remember vividly, like some things would come up where he would speak to me a certain way that would like break my spirit. You know what I'm saying? It would
Mm,
make me feel like,
mm,
damn, I would never talk to him like that, you know? So I was vocal about that. I would say, you speaking to me like this, it really hurts. And like I can only take so much, like at some point I'm gonna like not, I can't deal with this. So
right,
I was,
right.
I was vocal about it. There will be this amazing conversation where you feel like there was a breakthrough and understanding, but then the pattern came right back.
Mm,
So, and that happened early on, but I wasn't on my spiritual path yet, so I didn't understand. To me, I just felt like, well, now that I'm thinking about this, like actively talking about it, looking back on it, it's like, okay, well, I talked about it, I mentioned it, I brought it up, but for what reason? Because nothing changed. So that
right.
like further made me suppress like
Mm,
speaking up, if that makes sense.
right. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
I I I think getting into relationships was what really initially um, made me realize the traumas that I have around expressing myself, and I just feel like it's especially emotionally
Mhm.
that being vulnerable, emotional, and expressing myself vulnerable, being in a vulnerable way, I struggled with because I felt like I was putting on this mask of I want to make sure I'm presenting myself in the best light possible because
Mhm.
anytime I would express myself or in those like angry ways sometimes or just being blunt, I looked at that as a bad part of myself. So when I got into relationships, I tried to hide that away. And what would
Mhm.
happen is, like I told you earlier, is that it would build up. First of all, I became like super passive aggressive. So I feel like I learned a lot of my psychic powers kind of turned on when I was growing up because I learned that from my family is how to speak without saying anything
Mhm.
with a little side eye or looking at somebody in certain ways like really giving like so much energy without them saying anything. And
Mhm.
I kind of like brought that into my relationships where I was like super passive aggressive, where I would just, I would be asked like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'll be like, "Nothing,"
Oh.
with an attitude, but or just, really I was like boiling inside, or I had like so much on my heart that I wanted to speak about, but I was afraid to speak because I felt like I would run them away.
Mhm.
And see what would happen is it would be this uh like teeter totter of me not speaking, letting stuff build up, and then I would just spaz out. Like I said earlier, it would be one thing, and I would just spaz out and just like go off and go crazy and just become like
Mhm.
belligerent. And then things would simmer down a little bit, and then things were good. And then when anytime something happened, because people don't do things to you on purpose. Your triggers are your triggers. Anytime I
Right.
would get triggered, and I would need to express myself, I wouldn't express myself because I was afraid to express myself
Mhm.
out of fear of judgment or out of fear of hurting someone else's feelings. When I ended up hurting their feelings anyway, when it boiled up and it came out because it would always come out so aggressive,
Yeah.
so like hardcore, just so nasty, like that nasty. How can I explain it?
Like it
Like
was just it came out like you said, super blunt,
yeah,
raw, and like probably no. It sound like you had bad intention behind
yeah.
it, so
It
that
was
make the
like no
person feel worse.
compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah, no compassion, very cold. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what kind of I remember from like 18, me being like 18 years old up until like 25, 26. I was always in and out of relationships. Like I never took a break. I would just jump out of one and jump into another one. And I
Mhm.
remember like that 25, 26 age, I was like, okay, Justin, like you need to take a break. because something isn't working here,
Mhm.
because it became the same situations with different people. It
Mhm.
I would run into the same problems of me not being able to express myself, and then blurting them out, and just going back and forth. And I'm not a very, when I get angry, I could be a bitch. So it's not, that wasn't a good. It's a protection mechanism. Like, it's something that I can use to set boundaries, but it wasn't necessary to do that with someone who I felt loved me, or I loved as well. So
Yeah.
because that wasn't the intention.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, you were talking about your marriage. And do you
Previous
feel
marriage,
like
ex
your previous
marriage.
marriage? Yeah, your previous marriage. Let me correct that. My bad. Do you feel like you have resolved that? Did you like learn the lesson of how resolving to express yourself and allowing your emotions to flow? Um, since the marriage, are you still working on it? Like, how do you
Yeah,
feel about that?
I'm definitely still working on it, but it's in I feel like it's in a safer setting, if that makes sense. It's
Mm,
more me like now, it's more me like working on
mm,
discernment more so than not speaking up. Because now, like since then, I done found my voice.
right.
I done found my voice, and you're not about to tell me, you know what I'm saying? You're not about to tell me how, what, when, what, how to think. And I was just like, brr. I remember it was super, I would never forget, it was super like, I felt so alive, right? Which
Mm,
is great. But now it's like time to kind of balance that out and refine
yes.
it. Because I went from not saying anything, not expressing myself to ain't nobody gonna stop me from expressing myself. So now it's like trying to find the harmony between the two because you
Yes.
have to have discernment with when you're expressing yourself to someone and how you express yourself. Everybody doesn't receive. I'm big on like reading, how people perceive
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
like I need to learn how to discern like how to deliver it sometimes. I understand some people are like, well, you don't
Yeah.
need a filter, just say it, da, da, da. And I'm like, well, for me in my life and my experience, that doesn't work because I do care about how people feel. That's just
Right.
how I am. I'm
Right.
just one of those people, and I know everybody's not like that, but for me, I do care about how people feel, and
Right.
I don't want to come off in a way to make somebody feel low and less than or
Right.
feel
Right.
dumb. So I'm very mindful about how I do deliver a message.
Yes.
It will always be
Yes.
true.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No matter what. It's
Absolutely.
just like how am I going to deliver it? So now I'm in that space where I'm like being mindful, trying to be more mindful of how I am expressing myself.
Delivering it. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
realized one thing I learned about that is you have to know your audience.
Hmm.
Um, I think one thing Professor Melanie mentioned was that she's able to teach a professor, and she's also able to teach
Hmm.
kids. So it's like, when like finding your voice, I discovered that knowing your audience is really important, and that's where I use my ability to like tap into energies. Like, okay, I can feel out like where you are, because there are a lot of adults that are children in their mind, and there are a lot of younger people, children that are adults in their mind. So it's all about the energy, not necessarily the external.
Hmm.
And being able to tap, even I do this, I learned this like doing readings, is that okay, I know that I can deliver this in this certain way. Let me find where they are energetically, and let me match that energy and then deliver the message. So
Hmm.
it's like, I feel like that knowing your audience is like super important, but in a way of where they are mentally, but also where they are energetically and
Yeah.
emotionally.
Yeah.
And then like you can just get on that level to match that, because sometimes the what you're delivering to them, not even in readings but
In
just in general,
general.
I
Yeah.
learned this in life, is that when you're speaking to them, when you're connecting to them, they're on a certain level. Obviously y'all are connected somehow because they came across your path, but maybe sometimes you're delivering something to them that's a little bit higher than where they are energetically, but you can say it in a way that makes a connection to pull
Hmm.
them up into that space
Hmm.
where they
Yeah.
are, you
Yeah.
know? So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned
Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. I was about to say something, but it just like
that. Yeah, it'll come
yeah,
back.
oh,
Yeah,
like
it's
about oh yeah, because you also want to be mindful too. Like when we're sharing stuff with people, I just learned this. I learned this recently. Um, when we share things, and I'm not talking about in readings. I'm just talking about like in your everyday conversation with your everyday
right.
people. Like
Right.
there's always a consequence, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you can say what you have to say, but are you ready for the other end of that? Like especially if
Mm.
that person isn't ready to receive what you're saying,
Right.
are you prepared to deal with that? And that's the whole thing I was learning about energetic boundaries because
Mm.
it's like, okay, I could share this information and I can't control how it's going to be received or perceived for that, right?
Yes.
So am I going to set an energetic boundary and be okay with like not sharing it because I don't want to deal with that, or just no boundary and let it out?
Right.
It's like some of those things
Right.
like where I'm learning how to deal with, because if I'm sharing something and it gets perceived wrong,
Mm.
that's not what I intended, I'm gonna
Right.
feel some kind of way.
Right. Right.
So it's like, okay, now do I want to deal with that? So that's what I mean. Like I'm starting to learn to be a little bit more mindful and even like setting up a boundary for
Yes.
myself, protect myself too,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
so yeah, so because that's why I was
Yeah.
like, I agree with what you say about like reading your audience and
Mm-hmm.
reading the energy, because it's
Yep.
like, are they going to receive you in the way that you intend? And
And
if they
yes.
don't, are you ready to deal with it? That's the thing.
Right.
Are you ready? That part, are you ready to deal with it? You're going to deal with something either way, but sometimes you're like, okay, I'll deal with it. I don't care because it's got to get out, boo.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's.
so yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was actually just having a conversation with my mom about communication. And in order to effectively communicate, because this is something that I also struggle with, was listening, because listening is like super important when you're
Mm-hmm.
having a conversation with somebody. And I realize that a lot of times when I'm having a conversation with people, especially if it gets like a heated, I'm in my head figuring out like what am I going to say to respond to it, and I'm not really
Mm-hmm.
listening to what they're saying.
That's
So
important.
we were having a talk about how both people have to have their hearts open in order to effectively communicate, because when your heart's open, you're actually having compassion, you're listening to what they're saying, they're listening to what you're saying. So if one person has their heart closed, there's going to be an imbalance. Like they just want to speak, they just want to get off of their head, and that's just get off of their chest what they're saying. And I feel like that's where arguments come in, because it's
Mm-hmm.
like they're not really listening to each other, they're just trying to make the other person wrong, because they
Right.
want that person to see their perspective. They don't want to um, really acknowledge them what they're saying, because they're so angry at what the other person has quote unquote done to
Mm-hmm.
them. But it's all a perception, just like Professor Melanie always says, like truth is truth. It's like everybody's speaking their perspective. This person saying this on this side, this person saying it on this side. That's their
Yeah.
truth. Both of them are
Yeah.
true. It's their perspective, and both have to be open enough to realize that, okay, that's their truth.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see it from their perspective for a second, and then the other person doing the same thing, and then with their hearts being open, they're able to be like, okay, I see your perception now. You didn't actually do that on purpose
Mm-hmm.
to fuck me up like I thought you did.
Yeah.
And then you can express, the other person can express their side. Oh yeah, you're right. I'm glad you understood. I didn't do it. You didn't do it on purpose. I didn't.
Have to kind of take the higher road, like a
Yes.
lot of the times. And it's like, how do you navigate that with relationships? Because there's going to be
Mhm.
times where you are dealing with whether friend, family member, love, interest, or
Mhm.
whatever, where you may be, and not to make it sound like we're higher than, but you're
Mhm.
able to perceive and receive and get and give from a space of love and like higher, higher
Right.
consciousness. So how do you navigate those like types of relationships? Because that can be like draining,
Yeah.
like because
Yeah. I feel like
yeah,
that's that's where the tests really come,
yes,
because you can learn. In one thing that came to me in when we did the group meditation last week,
mm-hmm,
and we were meditating, I heard that Professor Miller, she always say knowledge plus understanding equals power.
Yes.
And I realized that and one thing that I said in my meditation is that I want my understanding to raise up and match the amount of knowledge that I have, because I realized over my journey, I did so much studying, so much reading, so much research to where I got a ton of knowledge, but the amount of knowledge that I have, I don't have that amount of understanding yet. I have a lot of understanding, but I don't have it to the point of where I have the knowledge. So I wanted
Right.
that to raise up. And I'm saying
Right.
that because in relationships, obviously you guys have met for a reason. So you're energetically matched somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like both of you guys have to be in a space of compassion for each other. And that's why I feel like I'm not in a relationship purposefully yet, because that's why I feel like soulmates and twin flames. I ain't gonna get into that, my own opinions on twin flames and soulmates right now, but I feel like when you have someone that can hold a space to know that, okay, we're getting in a relationship, that means that there's going to be times where I'm in an ugly space, where I'm in a space where I need a safe space to heal. I need a safe space to work through things that are still not resolved for me, because I know you're going to trigger them and I'm going to trigger them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, so I feel like having someone where you guys are initially communicating enough to know that we both going to hold a safe space when we get in these places where we're not our best selves.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you don't feel so defensive and so unsafe, because when you feel unsafe and defensive, that's when you're gonna like
Right.
react. That's when you're going to like, want to fight, or want to run away, or just like get out of the situation because you don't feel safe. But if you have
Right.
someone that makes you feel safe, you will be like, okay, I really got triggered when you looked at this other person, and I start feeling insecure because in my last relationship, they looked at somebody and they ended up, sleeping with them, and it just like sent me down this rabbit hole, versus you being in a space where it's like, oh no, I'm tripping. I don't need to say nothing to him or her because I'm just being too much. I'm just doing too much. And then it goes inside of you, and it might actually something actually happen because you didn't express yourself, and then it's just a whole thing. I just feel like you have to work on yourself enough to attract someone that allows you to be safe. I think safety
Mm-hmm.
is the key, and feeling safe. And if you're not feeling safe with anyone, you need to, number one, speak on that. And then this is just from my experience. Obviously, I'm not a relationship coach because I ain't in a relationship. But I'm just saying, I learned from the mistakes that I made in
I
the
don't think you
past.
need to be in a relationship to be a relationship coach. I don't think. I think you need to have
Yes,
experience with being in relationships. Because I think
absolutely.
that's the key. You don't have
Yes,
to be in one.
facts, facts. So that's my 2 cents on that. I think safety is key, because when I
Yes.
don't feel safe, I'm gonna fight. If I don't feel safe, it's just like when you get cornered. Either you're gonna run, or you're gonna fight, or you're gonna freeze. That
Mhm.
thing, fight, flight, or freeze, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight. I'm an Aries. I'm not gonna freeze. I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna fight. And that's
But
that.
you got that Libra moon though.
I
Like
do.
that's a beautiful, like I see how it's like polar opposites, but at the same time, it's like a test for you to like harmonize
Mhm.
that energy within yourself. Like that's
Yes.
powerful. That's
Yes.
super
That's true.
powerful. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
you
never
got a
thought
you
about
have
it
an
the way
Aries
that you.
sun and a Leo. I mean Aries sun and a
Libra
Libra
moon. Yeah.
moon. Like
Yes. Yeah.
it's sun,
It's
moon,
literally the
and
opposite.
the sun and the moon is opposite, and then the sign in each one is the opposite.
Right.
Like that's
Right.
powerful.
Mm.
Like
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. It's been a navigating journey, but that is true. It's a power there.
yeah.
Um, I so let's see. We still got 15 minutes before we kind of close it out. So you guys, we do have a space to pull some cards for y'all if y'all need, because we wanted to create space for y'all to pull some cards. If you needed like questions answered, or you wanted clarity on something, we're gonna gang bang you with some cards. with some
Oh,
quick time.
let me spit my tea out. I forgot he was sitting up here this whole time. Like,
Yeah, that's because we had got into it. So if
I
y'all got
know.
if y'all got any questions that y'all want us to pull a card together to give you some clarity on, we are here. We'll keep the conversation going until like 7:30. I know we have a workshop, so we're
Yeah,
gonna cut
I
it
got
off at
the
7:30.
workshop tonight, y'all. You
Yes,
excited
yes,
for the
the
workshop? I'm
entrepreneur
happy.
workshop. So if y'all have any questions, put it in the chat, and we'll put a card for you. But we'll keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
Um, you we initially were talking about our spiritual journey and like how everything got started, and I think we kind of tapped into this a little bit of how like my what really triggered my spiritual journey was a relationship, like getting out of a really toxic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because now when I look back at it, it wouldn't have been toxic had I healed my traumas. But I think you said the same thing happened to you, right? Like
Yeah.
yours started with in a ending a
Yeah.
bad relationship.
I was in okay, so like I shared earlier my previous relationship was with my previous marriage, or ex-marriage, however you could say that term. um I got to a place where I was just so like alone and suffering in silence. Like, yeah, I have this husband over here, I have these friends over there, I have this family right here, but I still just felt so alone, like to the point where I was like crying at night, like crying myself to sleep. Like, what did I do to deserve
Mm,
this? And that loneliness literally pushed me into the arms of my ancestors, y'all. Like pushed
mm,
me there. Like I it was like something kicked in where it's like there's something else out there. And when that happened, like so many other little things just fell into place. Like I saw a YouTube video where this girl did a pick a card, and the card that I picked, like her message came through as, your ancestors mad at you. Why you haven't set that altar up yet? I'm like, she was talking to me. I was like, whoa, I can't forget that altar set up. So and it was like it went and it was like I went down a rabbit hole from there. Like, and
mm,
after that, like I really felt the once I started connecting and like meditating, like
mhm,
I really felt their energy and the presence. And I'm like, I am not alone. I am not
mm,
lonely. I mean, I'm not, I may
mm,
feel lonely, but I'm not alone. And that mindset, like it just helped, it switched everything when I started honoring my ancestors and
mm,
meditating and diving more into me. Like it's so crazy because like we hear the term shadow work, right? So this was
mhm.
2019. I didn't even know what the heck shadow work was, but I didn't know
Right.
that that's what I was doing. Because
Mm,
what I was doing was every time I get triggered with something, I will immediately go to my altar space, connect, meditate, journal. You know what I'm saying? And like that was my shadow work. I didn't know that's what that was because I was getting answers to why I was being triggered and why I was feeling this way. So it helped me over time to heal that whatever that trigger was and to move through it. So when I was faced with something again, I didn't have the same reaction. So
mm,
it's like wow, now I'm saying that out loud. So but yeah, that's how kind of like how I started. I was like in a marriage, in a situation in my life where I felt so alone
mm,
that and then like I said, it literally pushed me into the arms of my ancestors. Like that's exactly what it was. Like,
mm,
and ever since then, like honoring them and meditating and connecting with myself, like getting to get because I remember one day I was dreaming and I woke up and I heard this voice say, "You're blocking me," and I was
oh
like,
shit.
"What?" But it was my higher self. It was my higher
Oh
self
shit.
saying I was blocking her. And so that was work there. Like, but how am I blocking you? I knew, like, I knew who it was and where I was coming from. And I'm like, oh gosh, how am I blocking you? So it's like, then I had to get more into my work, my spiritual work and
Mm.
like, work on that. So I don't know. That's kind of, I know
That,
I said a mouthful right now, but that's
no,
kind of
that
how
was
I
beautiful.
fell into it. This is a whole nother video, y'all, a whole nother
I
story where we can
know,
share it because there's so
seriously,
many different things, like, boop, 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 so many things falling into
where it came
place.
together.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
all started behind. rose quartz
Oh,
earrings, y'all. Like,
oh shit.
that's really how it happened because what initiated is really so that situation pushed me into actually doing the work and really starting to connect and meditate. But
Mm-hmm.
prior to that, I had a coworker and I saw this jewelry and she used to make this jewelry and I was like, oh, that's pretty. That jewelry right there. I like that. What is this? She was like, oh, that's rose quartz. And I was like, rose quartz? What is rose quartz? And she was like, it's for your heart chakra. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what?
Yep.
I was like, what's the chakra? And then she went in and said, how was your childhood? And it made me, I was like, wait, how you know? Wait a minute. And that right there, the fact that she is a spiritual being and super tapped in, you know what I'm saying? You know,
Mm-hmm.
we be floating around
Yep.
undetected, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Nobody be knowing what we know, what we do.
Facts.
So I was like,
Facts.
what? And when she said that was it. All it took was chakra. And I went down the YouTube rabbit
Mm,
hole and lost my mind. Like,
mm, mm. That's
yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. And now it's like you're on the other end of that. Now you're doing
Yeah,
that for other
yeah,
people.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
But yeah, we should definitely do a video about the spiritual journey because, whoo,
Yeah.
child, like that could be a 3, 4, 5, 6 part series.
That, yeah. Cause yeah. 1000%.
Right?
Um yeah, uh, I to wrap it up in a couple of minutes. My like I said, my spiritual journey, it was a few things. It was number one, my health, and it was also a really bad relationship.
Mm.
I think I realized at that last relationship, like really relationship, I went so low. Like I just felt like I gave so much of myself and like completely ignored what I wanted and what I needed because I just wanted the relationship to work.
Oh,
Um, when
I know how that
I finally had the strength, and it was always every time I got in a bad relationship, it was always a woman, like a friend or somebody that was tapped in, that would just like speak life into me. I remember I was in this horrible toxic relationship with a Scorpio. And look, Scorpio got a bad rap. It was a very low vibrational Scorpio. I love Scorpios now,
we
but
ain't all like that. We
yeah,
ain't all
yeah,
like
y'all
that
ain't
though.
going on like that. But I wasn't ready for that level of depth when it comes to emotions. But
Yeah.
I was in a real bad. I was going back and forth. I remember getting in my car, like literally driving away to leave the situation like 5 or 6 times and just turning right back around. It was just like this cycle. Like I couldn't. I was like energetically stuck. And I remember I called my friend and I was just like, I was so like down and out. Like I felt like I didn't have no power. And I was just like, yeah, you know. And she was like, what is wrong with you? Like she's very spicy. She's like, what is wrong with you? I was just like, nothing. She was like, that's a lie. That's a lie. And like it's like something took over her and she was like, you need to pick your fucking self up. This is not you. You need to get your shit together. Like something like some spirit jumped in her. I think it was one of my ancestors and like literally cussed me out. When I got off the phone with her, it's like a weight lifted off of me. And I had the power to be like, oh, this ain't it. It was like I had woke up. It was like I was in a sleep state. And she speaking to me like that, whatever like jumped into her, shook me and woke me up. And I was like, oh shit, wait, what am I doing? Oh yeah, let me get out of
Yeah.
here. And
That was your wake up call. Woo.
I literally went to him and was like, we're done. And I remember doing that many times. And he would do what Scorpios do, because you know, they speak that shit and use their emotions to give you a hug and your ass is done. But these Scorpios give the best emotional hugs. You just be like, oh my God. But
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
time, I was like, I'm done. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't like mad or nothing. I was like, we're done. Like, this is over. And he was just like, all right, I know. Like, he didn't argue back with me or nothing. That was the first time. He didn't do anything, say anything. And I just like walked out of that relationship. But that, I felt like every time I got in one of those relationships, I had to rebuild myself. I felt like I had pulled everything out of me energetically. And then I had to like literally crawl myself, like learn how to crawl again, learn how to walk again, learn how to run again, like
Yeah.
energetically, because I
Yeah.
had given so much of myself. So I
Mm.
literally got tired of that. In like that last relationship, I went solo because I was just so headstrong on I'm gonna make this work
Yeah.
that I was like literally going against my own spirit, and it triggered when I got out of that. I didn't have that energy that I normally do to pull myself back up, and I had to reach for something else, and I reached for spirit,
Mm.
and I got into meditation. Meditation is the thing that literally changed my entire life. Like,
Yeah.
I meditated one time and experienced tapping into like myself and like the everything. It was 5 minutes. It was just like 5 minutes. I had smoked some weed because I couldn't get my brain to calm down. I smoked a little bit of weed, sat by the beach and meditated. That 5 minutes felt like 5 years.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, this is
See,
something. Like, I need to continue
you
this.
use the weed the right way.
I
You
used
feel
it the
me?
right way
You
that
used it
time.
the right way. You used it for its intended
Mm.
purpose. You know, like a lot of people
Talk
are
about it.
using it just to like kind of like numb, just to be high. You know, like
Talk about it.
yeah, yeah. So you used it, yeah, and that's why you had that experience.
Yeah, it
Ooh,
helped.
that was beautiful.
It
Yes.
helped. And after that, I didn't need to smoke weed to meditate anymore. Like, I just, that was it. That was basically
It's like your
the
eye
beginning of my spiritual
opener. It's
journey.
like, oh, this
Yeah.
is what this is. Yeah.
Yes. Like,
Yeah.
this is something. This is something. So we got like 4 minutes left. You wanna just, I don't think anybody has any questions. So you wanna just like pull a card and give a message before we
That's
end?
funny. I can't believe this whole life I ain't see your face at all.
No, you
Like it's
needed to
black
do
up
that.
top. So
You
it's
needed to
black
do
up
that.
there. Like
You
it's
needed
literally
to
just
do that.
mine.
Uh-oh,
Dreamy
Dreamy Waves has a question.
Freddy. Yeah.
What's your question? Give it to us. We about to gang bang you. What's your question, Dreamy Waves? We gonna shuffle while you deliver the question. What message
What
does Spirit have for
message
you?
is still happening?
All right,
Okay.
we got you. We got you. I was waiting for this shit. I love this. Don't be nervous, Dreamy Waves. It's only your spirit telling you what you need to know.
Oh, I gotta do this because I was gonna keep shuffling, but this card, I'm clairsentient. I'm really big on that's like one of my biggest, strongest clairs. So
Mm-hmm.
as soon as the card came out, I'm gonna put it back in the deck, but I got this ping, this feeling. So you said, what does spirit have message have for you? This is the Four of Swords.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it? The Four of Swords is all about like rest
Mm-hmm.
and rejuvenation, like of your mind. Because remember, swords is air energy. So
Mm-hmm.
something that is like that you're constantly thinking about or worrying about, you need to pause, like give some rest, like let it go and like just rest and relax on whatever that is that's troubling your mind.
Yes. Yes.
That makes sense, please. I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, something took over you real quick. You was really like, you had tapped in for a second. Like, you was that confidence, that spirit had
Oh,
jumped
it
up.
did. Oh, it
Yes.
did.
While you're shuffling, I'm gonna give you what came out for me, Dreamy Ways. What came out for you? I got the porcupine from the totem deck. So the porcupine deals with innocence, like you being in that space of just allowing yourself to be free and be innocent and not necessarily worrying about the outside. The porcupine like has no worries because it knows that it has these quills on its back, and if anything fucks with it, they're gonna get fucked up. Like, you can see like on the Discovery Channel where like these leopards and like all these big animals come at it and it shoots those quills and they run away. So it's like, I feel like those quills, this is spirit letting you know that you are protected. Like, you literally don't have
Mhm.
to worry. You can walk around knowing that you're protected and just like, walk around frolicking, just frolic, just have fun. Like, allow your innocence, that childlike innocence that you have, allow it to be free. You don't have to protect yourself because you already got that with your quills, aka your spirit
And
team.
look at this. When he said you are protected, is this person not protected in this
Yes,
nest
in the
right
nest.
here?
Look at that. Truth is truth.
Safe
Yes,
and protected.
yes,
Wow.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Okay, now the questions come. Now y'all got questions. Don't try to see Dream Away started. Now y'all want to have questions and shit now. Hell no. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm
Justin,
just playing. We got y'all. We got y'all. Okay, Cosmic Phoenix. Uh
Cosmic Phoenix, was it the
what's your
same
what's your
question?
question? What's your question? Yes. Walking it. Yep. assisting and keeping telling myself to walk. Yep, you're good. That was confirmation for you, Dreamy Rays. Like you good. You
Yeah.
protected. You got the quills around you. You got the nest around you. You got the quills around you. You good.
Yes.
Just do your thing. Do your thing. I just see while we're waiting for Cosmic Phoenix, we're waiting on your question, Cosmic Phoenix. But yeah, it says, okay, spirit for her, messages for spirit.
Oh,
When,
but then
yes.
Cosmic Phoenix, she says the
Oh,
same
same thing.
thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
we got you. We got you, Cosmic Phoenix. You were next, so we'll pull one for you. Let me plug in my phone because I don't want this to die. I'll let you pull while I'm getting my charger.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's see.
Okay, let's shift some shit over here. Y'all about to be in my business a little bit.
I'm gonna do one.
Let's put you over here. All right. All right. For Cosmic Phoenix, what does Spirit have for you? Let me readjust this. Hold on, y'all. My bad. Okay. Cosmic Phoenix. What's for the Phoenix of the cosmos?
So this is the card that popped out for Cosmic Phoenix. And I find it interesting that Dreamy Rays have a 4 and now Cosmic Phoenix has a 4. So here's another 4, y'all. This is the Emperor. So what I'm feeling is that, like, I don't know if you're working on building an empire or something amazing, like maybe building your business. But if you are, like, I feel like this is a card that's letting you know you will have success in that. So
Mm.
that's what I'm like picking up, like, because the Emperor is all about like stability. You can see like it's all like this red and orange, so like the lower chakras. So
Mm-hmm.
like rooted in like stability and security. If you're building that on for yourself, whatever decision you made to move forward on that was the right decision.
Mm. Look at that.
Like, yeah, so that's what I got. That's what I picked up. Oh, this is fun. Like I've
I
never done
told
this
you.
before.
I
I've
told you
never
this is
done this, you
fun.
guys. Like to
I
be
love
doing
this.
like, ooh, this is good. Thank you, Justin, for expanding me, making me do this.
All right, of course,
Okay,
Cosmic
you're
Phoenix.
welcome.
Your what I got for you was the Weasel card, and I also pulled another one for clarity, which is the third eye. The energy that I'm getting for you is that you maybe have some things that you're coming in the works with, to maybe don't necessarily don't put it out there yet. The weasels, like no one can see the weasel coming. Like the weasel is like really sneaky. The totem with it is stealth. Like it moves in stealth. Like it was able. The story is that it was able to. The weasels can go in like castles and like steal stuff without anybody seeing it. And like the weasel's spirit, the weasel energy is so good that it can even steal from spirit if it wanted to, but it chooses not to. So what I'm getting is that use your discernment, use your third eye when it comes to whatever you got planning next or whatever you're coming up with next. Move in a little bit of stealth. Spirit is probably telling you don't speak about it until you like release it.
Mhm.
Like just drop that shit. Don't even talk about it. Don't say I'm gonna do it. Just drop that shit. For some reason, like Spirit wants you to move in stealth. Like
Yeah,
move under the radar a little bit with whatever you're doing.
and this is crazy how this tying into this because the Emperor. You see that chess piece. He said
Oh
moving
yes.
stealth. And
Oh,
he has a
chess.
chess piece. Like
Yes,
it's something
yep,
about that is very like quiet but powerful. Like,
yes,
and he's the emperor. The emperor has like the army, like his army made for him. The way they move. I don't know how I'm trying to articulate that, but there's something about that, like moving in stealth. Like an
yep,
emperor would move in a stealth way. Got that chess piece right there. So
yes,
yeah, that goes up in there.
yep. Connection. Truth is truth. Truth is
Yeah.
truth. Who was after? Cosmic Phoenix. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Message for spirit. Message for spirit for yes. Right. Y'all know Cosmic Phoenix got some shit in the works. You
She
already
do.
know.
She do. Because
She
that
always
emperor
got
came
something.
from, that emperor, that's boss status all over it. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Yas. We're gonna tap in. We're gonna tap into grandmother Yas. I love Yas.
She got
Ooh.
auntie. I thought it was auntie energy. Or was it
I
was it
said
grandma?
grandmother. It's giving grandmother.
Oh.
It's giving grandmother. You know she gonna put you in her bosoms and just let you cry and get it all out and then get you together.
Yeah, what
Okay,
we got for you?
so I already got a card.
Okay.
Um, yes, you got the crow. Which I'm very familiar with. I'm a crow medicine man, so I'm very familiar with the crow energy. That means that you need to. It's something about the law with you. The crow deals with the law. The crow also goes into this realm and the death realm at the same time. So like you see in movies all the time, they have crows around when they're doing magic and shit. It's because the crow takes your messages into the other realm. So there's something that you're, I don't know, like tapping into your ancestors or something where you're tapping into that death realm. The crow is letting you know to not be afraid of that. Like that's just the other side of you. It's the part of you that's on the other side. And as you can see, the crow is looking at his shadow. That shadow is the other side. That's that shadow in the death realm. In the Egyptian mythology, they call it the duat. So it's basically where the ancestors are. It's the other side of the realm. Like you're starting to connect with that. So don't be afraid. Maybe there's something that you're afraid of, but it's telling you that this is law. This is universal law. The other side is a part of universal law. Don't be afraid of it. It's only your shadow. It's only a reflection of you on the other side, because you have a yes that's on the other side that be connecting with your ancestors, and then you tap into that within you, and it's going to give you the messages that you need to hear. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. This is
And
only you. It's on you.
look at the card that came out. Are those not crows?
Wow! Look at that shit. Stop it.
Look at this.
Wow!
So
Look at
this
that.
is the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is basically you. And you see how she's blindfolded. So you whatever decision that you're worried about or trying to make or thinking about a next move, use your intuition. Don't use the logic part of it. You need to tap in and use your intuition to make that
Yeah.
decision, because there's like some type of decision afoot, and you see these crows, they're like pulling you back and forth. You got to
Mm-hmm.
use your inner wisdom,
Yep.
your inner guidance to move
Yep.
forward with that.
Get into that. Get into that shadow
Yeah.
side. Get into that
And you
other
know what?
side of yourself.
I'm gonna pull this card out since it was on the bottom and it caught my attention. This is another seven. It's a seven of swords. I'm not gonna really go
Wow! Look
into what
at
the
that
seven
shit.
of swords means, but what I am picking up intuitively is
But look at the
something
crows.
about the full moon. You'll probably get some more information around your decision around the full moon. Like there's something
Wow!
about the full moon that's gonna like shed light on your decision or what you need to do next.
You can't make that shit up. Crows all day. Like you got crows all day. Man,
Yes.
stop playing. Spirit, like
Yes.
stop playing.
Saw them crows.
All
I
them
was like, wait a minute. And
crows.
this experience right here, right now is really, I cannot thank you enough, Justin, because it's really expanding me and making me like really tune in and pay attention to my clairsentience, because that's how I'm pulling the cards. Like I would stop and I'm like, I get this feeling and I'm like, okay, this is the card. Like
Yes.
and that was the freaking crows. Oh my
Can't make
God.
this shit
Like,
up. You can't make this shit up.
pick it up.
Two different
Two
decks.
different
Two
decks.
different people.
Look, two different decks. Like
Two different coasts. We way on the other side of each other, but saying the same shit.
yep.
Confirmation. That's spirit. Spirit connects everybody.
Yep.
Who was next? Armani. I think it was Armani that was next.
Okay. I need to check something. Hold on.
We're gonna try to get y'all in because I know the workshop starts at 8, I think. So we're gonna try to squeeze y'all in.
Oh,
Armani.
okay. We're still there.
Good,
Okay.
yeah. Armani, and
You're
then I
welcome.
think
You're very welcome. Yes. Did Amani have a specific question, or she just want to know what is
Spirit? I think the same thing, right, Amani? I think you just wanted a message from Spirit, and then I think Pierre wanted one as well. She was after Amani. Okay. All right, Armani. I don't know what Armani exchange. Armani. Armani. What does Spirit have for Armani? Hey, Armani. I'm already feeling some stuff. Okay. I got one. Naima. I don't know what's going on with my speaking right now. It's because I'm tapping in the spirit. Um, Amani, I got this is one that I actually created, added into my deck. The tiger. So the tiger deals with that strength in being solo. So other cats, like in the cat realm of things, big cats, they're always in groups. Like you have lions, they're in the pride. Like the cheetahs, they're always like with other pride members. Tigers stand alone. There, it represents that strength, that confidence, that power in standing alone. So what that's given me is that whatever you're dealing with right now, you may feel alone, but it's in that situation that you're going to find the power of standing in like your own truth and your own solitude is going to bring like like y'all already seen the tigers, like tigers. You're like, y'all know how tigers work. Like you don't want to fuck with no tiger, and they never are with any other tigers unless they fucking, unless they mating or whatever. So it's like, be confident in the fact that you're a power. Before I was pulling the cards, I saw like fire shooting up. Like I felt it, and then I saw like fire shooting up. Like it was like fire everywhere. There's some kind of power that's like sparking. It's like a spark that's happening in you that's bringing a big fire, and you have to be by yourself. Whatever journey that you're going on right now, you have to be by yourself and standing in your alone to tap into that power, to see it and recognize it in you, and that is not someone else that's giving you the power, but it's you, it's in you.
Yeah, so I agree with that because as you're saying that, I'm looking at the cards that came out. So you had two cards came out for you, Amani. The Ten of Wands and the Temperance card. So what I see and feel with this is that, remember, tens in the tarot kind of represent like the end, like the ending of something, because something new is about to start. So you're at the end of whatever type of like burdensome journey, and whatever that is, whatever aspect that is, how that unfolds for you in your life, you're at the end of that. And it's time for you to alchemize. It's time for you to transmute whatever that journey was for you. It's time to take it and make it into something beautiful and positive. And the way that I see this is that, like how Justin mentioned about you being alone. Yeah, like I can see this as you being alone, but look at these wings and this
Yeah.
light back here. It's like your spirit team is behind you. They got your back. So now that you come to the end of some type of like burdensome cycle situation, you can take that and like alchemize it, transmute it, turn it into something super beautiful, and you won't be alone in that as long as you tap in, with your team, your spirit team.
Period. Period, Armani. You got it. Wow, that was really powerful, Armani. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know what spirits you have around you or what you have around you, but that's pretty powerful. Like you got a lot of strength. Spiritually, you have a lot of strength on your side and a lot of power
Yeah.
that's behind you and supporting you. So whatever you're doing, just fucking run into that
Yeah.
shit. You good. I think Pierre was next.
Oh, Pierre.
Yeah.
Okay, Pierre.
Y'all correct me in the chat if I skip somebody. Because Pierre. What she got? Yeah, Amani, Professor, what she was talking about in July event. Exactly. Exactly. Especially when she told her story. Pierre. Okay, Pierre, you take it. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay. I got two cards for you. I'm gonna let you. You got something, Naima yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll start it. I got two cards for you. Two cards fell out for you, Pierre. I got the antelope and then the whale. So first of all, the antelope speaks about taking action. There's something that you are, and I know we spoke a little bit already, but this is just already in alignment. Like whatever you are holding on, you need to take action for it with it. If you've ever seen an antelope, like how they move and like how they just jump into shit, like they're just able to leap these big bounds. Like it's telling you to just jump, just whatever you're waiting on or you're hesitating on or you're stepping into, just jump into it. Like you don't need any hesitation. And then the whale deals with the whale holds the Akashic records. So like they hold the records of like the ancient, like super ancient ancestor and the super ancient beings that like were the beings that were like in the beginning of the earth. Like this is like tapping into that energy. So what is giving me is that whatever thing that you're moving into, step into that. As you take the action into that, it's going to connect you with your own ancient being, which is already saying that you're probably an ancient, super ancient being. Like um, even back to like the Akashic records when they were first being written. So there's something inside of you that's like so ancient. It's time for you to just like whatever you're embarking in next, jump into it because you're going to tap into that ancient part of yourself that's going to bring like it's going to open up a whole new door, like a whole new world for you because you're doing your work by taking the action, like not sitting on it, not hesitating, but taking the action is going to pull that new part of you, because you'll need that ancient being to go wherever you're going next.
Mm, mm. Yes, I'm feeling it because okay, so what came out for you, Pierre, was the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles came out.
Mm,
However, she was reversed.
mm,
So what I immediately feel is that you see how she's sitting here? She's sitting pretty, ain't got no
yes.
bother in the world. She's a queen, everything's gonna come to her, right? But it was
Okay.
in reverse. So to me, that's telling me you need to take action with what Justin was saying earlier. So whatever it is that you're thinking about wanting to do, now is the time to like do it. You don't need to sit on it and wait for it to come to you. You need to do it. You need to like take action towards it. And I can't help but not share this one, which is the Queen of Wands. So he mentioned like an ancient being with you. This energy, like that energy, the Queen of Wands is that fire energy. You see her, like she's powerful. She got her animal familiar with there. You see her hand, that beautiful like light, like that. This is all action.
Mm,
So the fact that this was in reverse and then you had this one next, that like further goes into what Justin was saying about taking that action. You got the power. You
yes.
got the power.
Yes. Yes. And look,
Yes.
even what I noticed, like pull up the other card. What it was, the Queen of. She even look at
The Queen of
look
Pentacles.
at look at how the sticks is like antlers.
Oh yes,
You can like
yes.
you can't make this up.
You can't make it up
You
at
can't make
all.
this shit up. And that actually kind of looks like you, Pierre. Um, uh,
Beautiful.
yes, said giving Avatar wine. Yes, like the original Avatar, like from day one
Yes.
that started the Avatar shit. That's some powerful fucking shit. Like he started the whole Avatar life. So whatever you
Mm,
got going on, honey, you about to step into some shit, Pierre. Fucking steps, sis. I want to
yes.
see it. Steps.
Yes. Because this is one of the most powerful queens in the deck. It's just, yeah. Yeah, this your
Wow.
energy right here. This your energy, girl.
Period. Period. I think that was everybody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scroll through the chat really quick. If anybody else has something, because we are gonna end it before 8,
Yeah.
to make sure you guys can get into the workshop. Um,
Yeah, no fear. No
yeah,
fear. You
look at y'all.
got
Like
this.
y'all got some powerful energy coming out. It's the power in the group for me.
Yeah.
It's the power in the group for me. Is that
So
Letitia? Hey,
do you
Letitia.
save the lives? What do you
Yeah, I'm
do?
gonna save it afterwards, and I'll
Okay.
post it, and then I'll tag you in it. I will send it to you. Yeah, shout out to Letitia. I think Letitia in the live.
Letitia in the
Yeah,
building.
Letitia. You just missed it, Letitia. We was full of cards for people. You came in on
Woo!
the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to cut it off because I know it's a
And
workshop coming up. But I
I gotta
appreciate.
go. I gotta get
Yeah,
ready.
yeah, you gotta go. But I appreciate y'all like coming in, supporting. Like
Yes.
this was super fun.
Thank you so much, you
We
guys. Thank
we
you. Thank
definitely
you for asking questions. This was
yes
so helpful and beautiful.
engaging.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, and we'll be doing this like every week. So y'all stay tapped in. Let's keep sharing these messages. Let's keep connecting. Let's keep what SAU started going because it's
For
such a
real.
beautiful thing.
Professor done set this thing up and we took it and we running
Okay,
with it.
period. We taking the action like Pierre.
Yeah.
Thank you, Letitia. Thank you all. I love y'all.
Yes.
Love
Oh, we
y'all.
love y'all. I
All
love
right.
y'all.
Yes. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Or we'll see you guys in the
In
workshop. We'll see you in the workshop.
the workshop, yeah. Bye.
All right, y'all. Bye. Peace.